Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Silver and Black today, an Odyssey Sports original podcast covering the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm Scott Branson. Appreciate you being with us. We're live on video. If you're listening to us on the audio portion, good. It's our week off. We're not supposed to drop a show today, but I just wanted to jump on. I had a couple calls come in from you guys, even though we told you we were going to be off. Mo and I, that is, my partner Mo Moten, who'll be back with me next week. I wanted to get on and answer those calls because, hey, some of you guys call in and then you get upset if we don't put the calls on. So I wanted to do that a little bit. I also wanted to share with you a full mock draft that I did up on Sportsnot, ran this morning. I don't know if you saw it. I'll show that to you. We'll talk through it a little bit. But I also want to remind you, as always, that our video is brought to you by our good friends at BetUS. That's right. You can get 150% sign-up bonus. Get on. You can bet the Four Nations face-off tonight. Hockey, baby. USA. USA. Yeah, boo our national anthem. Will come at you. Anyway, you can bet it up at BetUS or baseball, whatever you're into. And if you use the promo code YouTube150, that's YouTube150, you're going to get 150% sign-up bonus from the folks at BetUS. So make sure you do that. We appreciate them sponsoring us all season long. It has been fantastic, and I'm sure you guys have enjoyed it, and hopefully you bet your stuff there. But anyway, thanks for being back with me, and even though I'm solo today, it's not as much fun as it usually is when I have Mo on here with me, but wanted to just get into this and get some calls and show you my mock draft. I want to get your thoughts on this because I've never written a full mock draft, all 7 rounds with the Raiders having their picks. Now, the Raiders may end up getting 2 more picks. I think one most likely in the 6th round, a compensatory pick, but we won't know about that till March for certain. And so we'll see on that. So I went through the picks I know they already have. So we're going to go over that a little bit today with you. And I'll put the link in the chat if you want to go check it out as well. You can read the whole thing because I'm going to go through most of it, but I put it there in the chat for you guys if you want to check it out as well. I appreciate the support there as well. You can catch Mo's work up. Mo had a good piece on veterans this week who might not make it through the Pete Carroll rebuild, meaning are there some players who might find themselves out of Las Vegas before the start of the season? So go check that out as well. All of our work is linked in the description. Once the show is over, you can find it on YouTube there as well as in the podcast. So if you're listening to us, and don't forget, you got to subscribe to the audio. Even if you watch us mostly, go to the audio, come on in, subscribe wherever to get your audio. Look for Silver and Black today. Don't forget to rate and review as well. We certainly appreciate that. Thanks to everybody over on the chat as well. Ron, thanks for being with us. But let's get into this a little bit. We're going to get to some calls too. So not a real long show today, but just wanted to give you some content and talk to you because obviously news has trickled down a little bit. Not a ton going on as we get ready for the combine up in Indianapolis, but we have calls, so when I get to those, also get to my mock draft as well. So let's jump into that. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So as I said earlier, my mock draft, a full 7 rounds, went up on Sportsnot this morning. Okay, so if you're anywhere where you can check it out, here it is. But I'm showing it on screen here as well. But I want to go through this because a couple of the picks that I had, I did a 3-rounder a few weeks ago that did really well, but I did it, and it was kind of like really, really early, and I just did the first 3 rounds, just based on what was going on. This time I dove in to all of it, so I want to show you this. I'm going to go through some of these picks, and then I want you to read the rest of it, and then you can give me feedback, right? So go read all 7 rounds, but we're going to walk through it a little bit here today as well. Again, this is up on Sportsnot.com where you can catch my work. But listen, here's the way I went about this. I went about this looking at the Raiders, looking at what we know about Pete Carroll, looking what you know about Spytek, John Spytek, Chip Kelly, obviously the offensive coordinator, and sort of tendencies we've seen. Now, they might change a little bit. We know from the past what these guys have done, but clearly this is a new situation, so they might have done some things differently. But I'm going on those assumptions, okay? And so let's dive into this, and I really want to get your view on what you think I did here. Give me your unfettered reviews. Some of you will hate it, some of you will like it. I don't know, but we'll get into it here anyway. But want to go to the first, and I didn't do any trades here. I just simply, if the Raiders stand pat with all their picks, which we've seen Spytek as part of the Tampa Bay contingent trade quite a bit. So they may end up doing that a little bit, but who knows? So I went with just that, with here they are. So I have them again, as I did in my first 3-round pick mock a few weeks ago. I have them taking Ashton Jeanty, the running back out of Boise State. Now, Pete Carroll, he built winners with a dominant run game, right? And this is what I say in the piece, like Marshawn Lynch, who you guys all know too well. And Chip Kelly's offense, it really moves with versatile backs who can not only run the ball, catch the ball, and so on. So I think that the Raiders, if you look at last year, Josh Jacobs, we're not going to exhaust that conversation, but they had the NFL's worst rushing attack, 79.8 yards per game. This guy can fix that. And I know quarterback's a big deal. If Shedeur Sanders is at 6, again, a lot of things could happen. I'm going based on the 2 or 3 top quarterbacks are already gone. That's my premise here, just so you guys know for the point of conversation. So you got to look at this guy, 2,000 yards, 40-plus catches in 2023. He's got power, speed, and so on. So I have him there. You have Brock Bowers already there. You have Jacoby Myers. They need more help at wide receiver, and we have a call on that too, and I'll give you some comments on that one. But I like Jeanty here. And if you haven't seen him very much, I know some people I don't think have watched him very much, and so they think, oh, he went to Boise State, blah, 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 blah. Look what he did against number 1 Oregon, against good competition. He has done really well. He's now projected in most mock drafts, I think average, he's between 6 and 9 as far as where he might go. Some people have him even lower than that at 12, but consensus is between 6 and 9. So I look at that and I think, okay, well, the Raiders will be there. They need to get the offense going. Yes, they need help everywhere, but they also need help on that offense. The offense is so putrid, and yes, they got to address the quarterback. We'll get to that in a minute. But I like Ashton Jeanty here. I think this is a good opportunity for them to do it. If he's gone, for every one of these picks, I also put an alternate, just so you know, so that if he was gone at 6, you never know what's going to happen, then who would they go for? And I have Mason Graham here. If Mason Graham is not gone, I go defense. So yes, I'm saying they need to fix the offense. And yes, I like Jeanty, but if he's gone, the quarterbacks are gone, and Mason Graham is there, I think he's too good to pass up. So that's where I am with the 6th overall pick. I'm checking the chat to see what you guys have to say. And yeah, Kevin, Giants going Cam or Sanders. I think they go probably Cam, but we're also hearing more about Jackson Dart now. Again, it's lying season, so we'll see what happens. And Ronald, I agree. Dart would be a great pick. I think he'll be gone by the time the Raiders would get there. Now, if he's not, different story, but we'll see how that goes. And I don't think that Kelly Kreiner knows what he's talking about right now, because he's telling me it's a deep running back draft, Kelly, but Jeanty's that far above anybody else. I believe that. I like him. I think so. So that's where I got it. I know that surprises some people, and some people won't agree, and that's cool, but that's where I am with that one. So that's where I have them. I have them there. And we have Clemens in here saying Jeanty at 6 is insane. Use the pick on a premium position, blah, 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 blah. The running cast is deep. Yes, I'm not saying they can't do that, Clemens. I'm not saying they can't go get a guy later, but if Jeanty's there, and at 6, I don't think he's insane. Again, everywhere, most projections have him between 6 and 9, or between 5 and 9. That's based on all of the projections for teams all throughout the league. So yes, it's a deep running back class, but I just like the guy a lot. So don't have to agree. I'm not asking you to agree, just giving you my reasoning there. You can agree or not. Doesn't matter. All right. And at number 2, you ready for this? I have their quarterback. I have Will Howard here. Will Howard, I'm not the biggest Will Howard fan. It's not like I think he is the better of sliced bread here, but I'm trying to say here is that if you look at Will Howard, you look at the fact that Chip Kelly is now the Raiders offensive coordinator. Here's a guy who did really well, and I put in here too, he's a Josh Allen light in terms of his size, arm strength. He's got sneaky mobility. He's not a running quarterback. He had 500 yards rushing. He also has a system opportunity. I think Chip Kelly with RPOs, he can extend plays. He can do all of that. And you look at what Spytech did in Tampa, he liked quarterbacks that he could swing into development. Now, he got Kyle Trask down there, didn't really work out, but Howard could sit behind a veteran. If the Raiders, which I think they might do if they don't get one of the top 3 quarterbacks, if they go with a Sam Darnold, Russell Wilson, again, I'm just putting names out there, not endorsing them, then this gives the opportunity for Kelly to develop him, and he knows him really well because he spent the last year winning the national championship with him. As an alternative here, I also have Dillon Gabriel, who keeps coming up some of the charts. I'm not a big fan of Dillon Gabriel. I just could see that happening. Smaller guy, obviously 6 feet, 200 pounds, but he's got good accuracy, not great, and wheels there. So that's the quarterback piece, right? So I have the Raiders getting a running back, and I know some of you hate that, but the Will Howard pick in the second round, I think, is realistic. And I really wouldn't have thought much about it if Kelly didn't come to Las Vegas. But I do think with Kelly there, then this gives him an opportunity. He knows the guy. So if you see Will Howard go in the second round of the Raiders, if he's still there, I think he could go in this range. He might go a little later. Who knows? But I just think that if that's it's one of the situations where he's a system fit. He knows well. And the Raiders get a shot at a quarterback. Yeah, it's not the top 3, but I like Will Howard. And I think if you're going to develop him, you have a veteran there, and he could surprise. He could develop quickly and come out and start in that Kelly offense. So that's where we have it up to pick. And Gabriel, again, I don't know how you guys feel about Gabriel. I have not watched him a ton, I'll be honest, but I could see the Raiders going there, and it's always good. So I figured out that, hey, they got to get a quarterback, and I don't think they should wait till the 3rd or 4th round. I think they should, if they're going to take a swing in this draft, they should try to get up and get somebody like Will Howard. Now, again, I don't have trades here, so this is just all based on straight draft picks. So you guys have that as well. Drop your comments in the chat. Let me know what you think so far. I got most people's opinion on Genty. Most of you don't agree with me, and that's cool. Will Howard, I saw some positives there, so that's all good as well. And yeah, Kelly, Michigan. I know you're a Michigan fan, dude. I know. Young D894. I don't. Why do you think he's getting overhyped? Did you watch him all season? Have you watched his tape? I don't think so. And that talk also comes out of scouting combines, or scouting combines, but also out of a lot of scouting reports that like Will Howard and like his development as a pro-style quarterback. And again, how he did inside Chip Kelly's play calling and his system really works well. So he might be able to skip ahead of the class, so to speak, because he has that as well. So we'll see. But again, I like it. And I think that, to me, he's a big quarterback. He's got the size, he's got the arm, and he knows how to run that offense. All right. At pick number 3, I'm going to just go through a few more. I'm going to get to your phone calls. The Raiders need help in the defensive backfield, clearly. They have this extra 3rd-round pick because of the New York Jets. And I think here it's safety or cornerback, right? The Raiders need help there. Trayvon Merrick, I think, is not worth some of the money. I think he's overvalued, especially by a lot of you fans in Raider Nation. I don't think he is a guy that's going to come back, but I could be wrong there. But nonetheless, Kevin Winston Jr. is safety out of Penn State. Now, Winston Jr., before he injured his knee, yes, he had a partial ACL tear in Game 2 of this past season in 2024. And he is a guy who was projected to be a top 45 pick, okay? And I have him going to the Raiders at 70 because of that, because of the injury. But if you look at what he does, you look at Pete Carroll's tendency on defense, Patrick Graham with that cover 3, it all hinges on safeties doing better. That's why the Raiders have struggled a little bit. Winston Jr. fits that. He's 6'2", 206, hard-hitting, got that instinct, and he's tough in the box as well. And that's really good for Graham because he's got the multi-look system, and I think that this is a guy who could really fit in well. If you think of sort of that, as I called it in the story, the Earl Thomas ethos, right? And that's why I think Pete Carroll, again, looking at tendencies, what kind of players Pete Carroll likes, both from a demeanor and a talent perspective, I think this guy has an opportunity for that as well. And Spy Tech with the Buccaneers has targeted defensive backs with big upside like Antoine Winfield and so on. So I think that he's a realistic pick there and a great value in the 3rd round. Yes, he's got the knee injury, but he's going to be ready to go, and he's going to actually be someone who will be at the combine, so his knee's ready to go. It's not like you got to wait until he's drafted and then get him to camp, and is he ready to go? He's already on progression because his injury happened so early in the 2022 season. So that's what I have there. As an alternate to that, another guy I really like, and I could flip-flop these guys at this number 3 pick, and that is Maxwell Hairston, the cornerback out of Kentucky. I know a lot of other mock drafts have him there, but 6'1", 186. He is I called him a ball thieving corner. and he's physical. He's got good coverage skills, and Pete Carroll values that. So I think he could play outside. He could play in the slot, and that gives Patrick Graham flexibility too, because I think with the fact that the Raiders aren't going to be able to address every single need they have in this draft or through free agency, having some versatility there works really well. So that'll be something that'll be, I think, very good. But this pick could be the pick if they want to go corner before safety. But again, because of Graham's cover 3 system, I think safety definitely takes a play. And in the story, by the way, and again, I'll drop the URL into the chat if you guys want to click through and read it or save it for later. That would be I'd appreciate it if you go visit it. But you can see also there's some good video in here, as you can see from in the story that I've embedded, including there. I'd watch some of that Winston Jr. tape. You'll get really excited about him. Now, second, third round pick, we go wide receiver. If I'm the GM here, at pick 86, I have Tez Johnson. I think he'll be there. You never know sometimes, especially after the combine, where these guys will go. But I like Tez Johnson. They need another wide receiver. A lot of folks are talking about Godwin coming out of Tampa, and obviously that makes sense with Spytech and some of these veterans that are on the free agent market. But I like Tez Johnson. He's 5'10", 160. He's not the big guy, but he is electric. And Johnson had over 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns. He's got sub 4.40 speed. And after the catch, he's great too, as well. And I think I said he reminds me a lot of DeAnthony Thomas, who Kelly used at Oregon before when he was here. And if Howard's at quarterback, you have a guy who can get into the slot and complement Brock Bowers. And I know you're going to say, oh, well, they already have a slot. No, you get as many as you can. Opposite, also Jacoby Myers. I think he'd be good. Spytech likes explosive athletes. And Carroll, as you know, if you follow anything about Pete Carroll and who he drafted, he loves speed. He's a speed guy. So he's hearkening back to maybe some of Al Davis's tendencies there as well. So that's what I like. I don't know if you think or what you think of him, but go watch some of his tape. Again, I've embedded in that thing some video and some stories there up from the Senior Bowl. He really impressed at the Senior Bowl. Our good friend Jordan Schultz here talked about him being very impressive and explosive, right? So don't overthink. He's just a dude, is what Jordan said. So that's where I think the Raiders have an opportunity there in the third round. I mean, if they can get that safety and the wide receiver, or if they go safety and cornerback there too, I think there's a lot of value in that third round due to where they fall, and it certainly would be something that I could see happening. So do me a favor, make sure you go up to I'm going to the top here. Go to sportsnaut.com. Again, the link is in the chat wherever you're watching us right now. The link is in the chat. Make sure you check that out on Sportsnat. That is my mock draft for the Raiders. All 7 rounds, baby. So make sure you go and check it out. I appreciate you guys doing that. All right. Now we're going to get to your calls on this short show on the off week. It's our bye week. Mo and I have the week off, and here I am talking to you again. But we wanted to just reach out. I didn't want those calls to go unanswered, right? So that's where we're going to go now. If you guys want to call in, by the way, 702-900-7869, 702-700-7869 is the number. If you want to call in for our regular show next week, do so. Call Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, because we do the show in the off season on Thursday morning. So if you want to do that, go ahead, call in, leave your voicemail. Tell me what you thought of my picks. Do me a favor, read the whole mock draft. Got a couple surprises in there for you, including one of the final picks, which you'll claim bias on me, but nonetheless, check it out. And call in and tell me what you think of that mock draft. Tell me what you think of Mo's story up on Sportsnaut right now, too, about veterans who might find their way out of Las Vegas with Pete Carroll there. So check that out and give us a call, 702-900-7869, baby. That's right. Now, we're going to get to the calls and see what you guys have to say right now. We're going out first to Armando. Let's see where Armando's at.
Scott and Mo, this is Armando from Salt Lake. Just wanted to chime in with my thoughts on the quarterback discussion that you guys had, and that's going to be ongoing for a little bit. I think in a vacuum, Sam Darnold is the best option. However, we don't live in a vacuum. So looking at the market values for quarterbacks and all these other positions that we have, if we grab Sam Darnold at what he's valued at, we're going to be able to get, on that side of the ball, maybe a receiver like a Keenan Allen or a Hollywood Brown. For that same price, again, just going off the market values, we'd be able to land Justin Fields, Chris Godwin, and Trey Smith. You know, a few names that we've been bringing up before. If you give me the option of door A, Sam Darnold, Keenan Allen, and door B, Fields, Godwin, Trey Smith, and this is, again, not even talking about the defensive side of the ball, give me door B any day of the week. So while I think that Sam Darnold is the best option in a vacuum, I really like that package of Fields and a few other players because it gives us more pieces. You know, we don't need, and I think that's the thing that's being overlooked. We don't necessarily need Sam Darnold. We need to find the next Sam Darnold. You know, someone who's a little bit undervalued, who we can take a shot at and maybe get success with. The other piece is if you grab Sam Darnold, now all of a sudden Shedeur Sanders falls to us at 6, you're going to be in a similar situation to what the Falcons were with Cousins and Penix. And that's not ideal. So someone like Fields, all of a sudden, if Sanders does fall to us at 6, have no problem pulling the trigger with that and just have all the quarterbacks compete. Those are my thoughts right now. Of course, all these things are fluid, but just wanted to put that out there. Much love to you guys. You always do an awesome job. Looking forward to your thoughts on my call. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
All right, Armando in Salt Lake City, the Beehive State. Appreciate the call, man. And yeah, so listen, I think Mo and I have been very clear on the show here that we think Justin Fields is worth a shot. I don't necessarily think it's an and or situation, though. The Sam Darnold thing, if you can get Sam Darnold for $38 million because you can't get another veteran quarterback, I don't mind them paying the money, even if your scenario worked out where you had Shedeur Sanders and he falls there at 6. But again, you're saying if he falls there at 6, you don't know that he will. The Penix Cousins thing is different, I think, because I think Cousins is in a much different situation. And I think you look at Darnold and what he's done with a good play caller. He had one good year, yes. But I think with the money, that's very easy to structure the deal so that if that did happen, Armando, and you got both those quarterbacks, not a bad thing. You put them in camp and see who wins with Sam Darnold having the edge clearly. And if Shedeur Sanders needs a little extra time, nothing wrong with having him sit a little bit and having a guy like Darnold there. I mean, that's the thing, though. You don't know what Sam Darnold wants if he's going to be available. I like the Justin Fields. I think there's opportunity for them. Obviously, he has, I think he would do well in Kelly's system. The issue, though, continues to be, I think, turnovers there. So we'll see. But we'll see where he's going to go, too. There's been talk of him moving other spots. So we'll have to see. But the one thing I disagree with you, Armando, is on the wide receiver thing. I don't think the Raiders, even if they were to get a Sam Darnold, I don't think the Raiders need to go spend money on either aging wide receivers or big money wide receivers. I think this draft, I mentioned Tez Johnson in the 3rd round here. I think there are guys, I think you need to get younger at the position. And I believe, just like I think many people in the NFL, is that wide receiver is the last piece you need, like the top wide receiver. Now, the Raiders have to improve the room. There's no question about that. And I have actually 2 more wide receivers on the draft. If you go read the full mock draft, you'll see that. And to me, I go back to the Bill Walsh's philosophy, which was he said, no, the last thing, you get everything else in line and then you get the wide receiver. So to me, I think you go young there. Yes, they have a lot of cap space and all that, but there's plenty of opportunity in this draft to get some good wide receivers and young wide receivers on those rookie deals. So that's the way I would go. But great call. I appreciate it. And don't disagree on some of your quarterback premise as well. All right, now we're going out to Marco. Here's Marco.
Yo, Scott, Mo, what up? This is Marco from California, Stockton, California to be exact. Quick question for you. 2 quick questions. If they cut Minshew, do they save any money on the cap? That dude needs to go. Even if we have to pay him to leave, just get him the hell out of here. He needs to leave. The other question, though, is everybody's kind of dumping on O'Connell. Like, I get, career backup, this and that, but he kind of showed a few flashes here and there. Give him a real offensive coordinator, maybe some time with Brady in the film room, and see what he can turn into. I mean, I'm not completely out on the guy, but I don't think he's had a fair shot to date yet. So, I mean, I think, could be a sleeper pick. Let me know what you think. Peace.
All right. So Minshew, and thanks for the call, Mark. Listen, I think Minshew's gone. I think they're going to cut him. From a dead cap perspective, if they cut him pre-June 1st, which I believe they will do, they take a $7.6 million cap hit, dead money, and they will save 6.3 on the cap because he has a cap number of 14 million for 2025. So that's what they would do there if they cut him pre-June 1st. If they cut him post-June 1st, which I don't think happens, they have a dead money hit of 4 and a savings of 9.3, but we'll see. So there's incentive there, but not for the player. So we'll see. We'll see what they do there. But I don't think there's any question that they're going to say goodbye to Gardner Minshew. It just didn't work out. Some of that has to do, I think, with not only his skill set, but also with the way the coaching situation was last year. It just wasn't fit for anybody. And I think that situation is pretty good. And then we have Raider Lasso in there in the chat, by the way, on YouTube, saying AOC couldn't even beat out Minshew in the quarterback competition last year. He's not the future. I agree. I don't know. I must have missed somebody up top who said AOC. We got to put a rest to that. I like AOC. Good backup quarterback. No problem with him. Whether or not he's in the Raiders' long-term plans, don't know. They might completely redo that quarterback room. If they do, then he could be gone. But he's certainly not a franchise quarterback. Just don't think so. Can't convince me of it any other way. He has not shown it in 2 years. And you can talk about play callers. You can talk about all that. At the end of the day, I just think he's limited in what he can do there. All right. Now we're going out to our good buddy, Raider Izzy. Here's Raider Izzy.
What up, fellas? Raider Izzy. Wanted to throw my 2 cents out there in regards to the quarterback room. So what we know is Brady is looking for a guy that's been through a little bit of hell, been through it, and kind of come out top. I know he wants somebody that has that winning mindset and has been through some stuff. I also know that he wants to sit a rookie. We've all heard that. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but it seems like that's what his preference is, to have a kid sit in one. We know that Pete Carroll loves a mobile quarterback. We know Chip Kelly has worked with both before, but he definitely seems to be fine with a mobile quarterback. Here's what I would do. I would sign Justin Fields. Tell Justin Fields, this is your year. You are the starter. This is your team this year. This is your 1 year. You are the starter. I would sign Mariota as the veteran of the room. Calm down. I don't want him to play. I think he would be a very good veteran addition for Fields. And then I would draft Jackson Dart in the 2nd round. You have a built-up quarterback room. You know exactly what your strengths are. You know what your weaknesses are. And Chip Kelly will be able to work with them. And I'm telling you, Mariota would be a very good veteran to have in the room with those 2 guys. That's what I would do there. I think Justin Fields deserves a shot. I'm not a big Arthur Smith fan. I hate that he doesn't allow players to make changes at the line. Don't feel like he's a flexible guy. And don't get me started on Luke Getsy. I think that Justin Fields deserves it. Now, another thing, I still have a minute here. Scott, I know you love Twitter arguments. I know you do. You talk about Twitter arguments all the time. I wanted to throw one out for you that I had. You'll like this. Why is it that Raider fans feel like I brought up the idea of re-signing both Malcolm Kuntz and K'Lavon Chaisson, and I'm being told that we can't, 1, afford Chaisson, 2, we have bigger pressing needs than a 4th defensive end, even though he wouldn't be that. Why do Raider fans do this? Like, why do they not believe in depth? Why is this a thing? I hate that. But anyway, yeah, I thought you'd like that one, Scott. Have fun on that one. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Yeah, very funny. I don't like arguments on Twitter. I have them, but don't like them, especially with unhinged people. But it's all good. I like discussions on Twitter, actually, where people go back and forth with good points, and I learn from them. That's what's always good. But thanks for the call, man. Raider Izzy, I appreciate it. So 2 things with your point about Justin Fields. Again, we've been very supportive of bringing Justin Fields in and giving him an opportunity. But I'll correct you on one thing there. He would be your veteran. Remember, he was drafted in 2021, right? He's played 4 years already. So he's not a rookie. He's not like a 1 or 2 year quarterback. He's a 4-year guy. And so I think if you bring him in, he is your veteran, and then you get a young quarterback. Now, listen, and I'm not saying they don't have a third guy, and maybe that's O'Connell or maybe that's a different veteran, but I do think that you have a situation where Jackson Dart, I just don't believe it, Izzy. I know. I just and maybe just because it is lying season, maybe they're overblowing it. I think Jackson Dart's going to go in the first round. I don't think he's going to go. He might go before the Raiders pick at 6. We're hearing a lot of conversation about the Giants or the Jets liking him a lot coming out of the Senior Bowl and some of the other meetings he's had. So I think he'll be gone. So to think about Jackson Dart in the second round, no. But as I suggested in my mock draft on Sportsnaut today, you can also get Will Howard. So if you had Will Howard and Justin Fields, both guys who played at Ohio State, by the way, it would be kind of weird, but nonetheless, you could have Justin Fields, and like you said, say, hey, we're bringing you in. I would say compete, and you're going to have an opportunity to compete for the starting job, and if Justin Fields wins out, great, and if he does really well, great, and you still have Will Howard waiting there. It's not bad to have a guy who might even be ready to play that doesn't play. And I think you're right about Tom Brady. He's made it public very many times that he thinks the problem today in the NFL is that teams don't give quarterbacks the time to develop. So I think the Raiders are in a good spot either way they do that. So I don't disagree with you. On the signings on the defense, Chason and also Kuntz, yeah, those guys you can sign. I don't listen. Depth is everything. If people say, "Oh, we don't need another defensive end or an edge," yes, you do. Look at Philadelphia; they just won a Super Bowl. You got to have depth, and I just think that you look at what the Raiders are doing, and those two guys are guys you got to prioritize. You can't sign everybody. I mentioned Merrick earlier. I think he's gone, but those two guys I like. But it also depends on what they're going to do in free agency, what they're going to do in the draft, and who they like. But yes, I think signing those guys is a priority. So for those people telling you on X.com that you're crazy, tell them to go study up. That's all I can say. But thanks for the call, Izzy. I appreciate it. All right, going to go out to our last call now on this abbreviated version. And I wish I could read it, but I can't read it. Sorry. Got my contacts in today, and up close, it's a little hard to see. Yes, I'm getting old, folks. Here we go.
Scott Moe.
T.
Thank you for
Dougie.
taking my call. This is T. Dougie
Yes.
in California. As we get closer to the draft, free agency, as a fan watching, the Eagles win the Super Bowl, looking at the past teams that have beaten Brady or Mahomes, the teams that maybe didn't have the quarterback that was as good as the favorite, they had the D-line and the O-line. It starts in the trenches. My number one target for the Raiders is Trey Smith in Kansas City. Just throw him the bag. I remember when the Raiders picked up Kelechi Osemele back in 2016. Donald Penn prior to that. We've been typically good at getting offensive line free agents, and it transformed, our team. When you can buy time in the pocket for your quarterback, when you can open up holes for your running back, it just makes all the difference in the world, and I think that's where all the capital should go to. So Trey Smith's my number one guy. They got to figure out a way to get him and really bolster that offensive line. My other thing is for the draft, obviously we want to go with the quarterbacks, and I'm good with Ward or Sanders at this point. It's better than what we have now, in my opinion. But if they're not there, I don't feel great about taking, a cornerback like Will or what's his name, Will Johnson. And nothing against Will Johnson. His year last year was okay compared to the prior year, and I just, as a Raider fan, we don't have really good luck with corners, and for such a high draft pick, my hope would be that, Abdul Carter's there, which probably won't be, but that would be amazing. I also like, Mason Graham's an option, but Will Campbell or Kelvin Banks, two good offensive tackles. I like Banks a little bit better, but man, if we can just bolster the trenches with the D-line and the O-line, it makes the back end look better. As for the wide receiver position, I feel like it's a very overrated position. If you look at all the Super Bowl champions in the past, 10 years, if not longer, it's just the tight end is what you need. We have the tight end. right? Even with the Eagles, they had good wide receivers, but ultimately, if you look at the yards throughout the playoffs and Super Bowl, it was all with Goddard. Goddard had all the catches and yards. So, for me, it's quarterback, offensive line, tight end, running back, wide receiver in that order. So hopefully we can get that figured out. Thanks, guys, for taking my call. Have a good one.
All right, there's T. Dougie, my man. I appreciate it, man. Great call there. And I agree with you on the trenches. The only thing I'll say, though, is, and I know there were if you watch the Raiders' offensive line, it was a very crappy year. So it's hard to sometimes see the positives. The offensive line wasn't as bad as you think, okay? Scheming was bad, obviously coming off Luke Getsy and that disaster. So, yes, the Raiders need to strengthen both sides. And if you look at my mock draft, I have them doing so, not on the offense, but I agree with you going after Smith and making sure that they bolster that offensive line. And I think they can do that. It can be in free agency, it can be in the draft, definitely. And on the defensive line, I think they can do that. So yes, I agree with your approach there that you need to do that. At the same time, I think you do need to address the offense. I'm in that mindset, and I'm totally fine if people disagree. Look, there's arguments on both sides, but this offense is so bad. Not only at quarterback, which is obviously the big position, but everywhere. They need to do that. The offensive line isn't as bad as you think, but they need skill positions. They need a quarterback. They need depth on that offensive line. They also need some help at wide receiver. But I agree with you on wide receiver, overrated. That's why I think you go with young guys there, right? You go with young players. That's why I have Tez there in the third round, because I think some of those guys can help out immediately, and you're not paying them a ton of money. You can spend money, as you said, on some of those free agents, both on the defense and the offense. I disagree with you on the cornerback, though. If in the first round, like you said, I don't know that he'll be there, Campbell, but at the same time, I think that you have an opportunity to improve that back end with the way, because Patrick Graham's still there. He plays the same system. I might see some changes with Pete Carroll, but I doubt a major change. So you got to strengthen safety cornerback. They have to do that. It is a major need, and I think you can do that in the draft in various ways. I have them starting to do it in the third round, again, with the kid out of Penn State. So again, there's opportunity there, and you're not going to get it all done in one fell swoop, but you can do a lot, and I think that that's one of those situations where we can do it. Steve's got a quote, a statement, a chat here, and he says, Gruden made the mistake of not drafting or signing true competition for the quarterback room. He wanted Carr to feel as comfortable as possible. We need to bring back the value of competition in the quarterback room. Amen, man. I think that's true. That's why I said if you Justin Fields, you draft Will Howard, or you sign Sam Darnold and you draft Will Howard, both fine. Dude, have as many quarterbacks as you can have. And I wouldn't be shocked, depending on what happens in free agency, I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders draft another quarterback later in the draft. I mean, who knows? You can't have too many. I think you do that. Now, they have other needs, so they got to be careful there. But I do think that there's opportunity there, and I agree with you guys as well. Jim, it's a great show, Scott, by the way. We Canadians aren't booing your anthem. We're booing Trump and his ilk. Oh, personally love the American anthem. It just doesn't mean that it used to anymore. Jim, thanks, man, and I appreciate the sentiment to a certain degree. The guy's our president, so if you're booing our anthem, you can boo him, but you're booing our anthem. That's our country, and that's us. I love your national anthem, by the way. Oh, Canada's beautiful song. I would not boo it. I did talk some trash to you Canadians on X after the last game, but, I don't boo Canada because Justin Trudeau is a douchebag, and he is a douchebag. He's a complete douchebag. But I don't boo Canada because of him, because I know the people of Canada, even though you vote somebody, doesn't mean that everybody supports him or believes the same thing he does, because everybody I know from Canada is cool. I got no problem with the people from Canada, but we're going to beat you tonight. Sorry, man. We'll see. It's going to be a tough game, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm wearing my Golden Knights sweatshirt. I'm going to watch the game with some friends here in town tonight, and I'll be rooting for USA. But, again, 77 million Americans voted for Trump. There's a lot of people here, too, who don't like Trump. Obviously, he's a very polarizing figure as the president. And in our country right now, as you know, that's been that way for the last several presidential cycles. Okay. So it's 50-50. So, 50% of people or more now support Trump. Others don't. We don't talk politics on the show. I'm just trying to say that you don't boo a country because you don't like their president. I don't boo Canada because I don't like Justin Trudeau, right? I don't like his dad either. You know, Fidel Castro. No, just kidding. It's the it's the conspiracy theory, but nonetheless. Anyway, but Jim, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and good luck to you guys tonight. I hope it's a hard-fought game, and that the USA wins. But if we don't win, it's cool, and we won't boo you. I promise. But anyway, thanks for watching, man, and I appreciate the comments and the support as always. Well, there you go, guys. A quick show, under 45 minutes or so on our week off here, but I just wanted to get on because we had some of those calls. And since I dropped that mock draft today, I just wanted to get it out to you guys and see what you had to say. So read it, come back and make comments, or find me on x.com at LVGully. Is that the show is SNB, the letters SNB today. And of course, Mo, my buddy, my partner, is at Mo Moton, MOEMOTON as well. And don't forget, call into the show, 702-900-7869. Tell me why I am a GM, a faux GM, sniffing glue with my picks. Or tell me you like them. Whatever you want to tell me, I'm totally good with it. It's a full swag. All of us are just taking a full swag. We're just taking shots in the dark based on what we know. Took a lot of time. Those pieces, for you guys who aren't writers and all the research about, takes a lot of time. But I enjoyed it. I learned a lot more about what the Raiders could do. So it's one of those situations where we'll see how it goes, but we have a lot of fun talking about it. We're going to get into these specific things: free agency, the draft positions. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks. We're going to talk about the defensive line. We're going to talk about the offensive linemen, all the positions that the Raiders need to fill. We're going to go through those, and we're going to have some guests on here in the next several weeks. So get ready for that. Do us a favor. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your audio. You can listen to it in the car, listen to it when you're at the gym, walking the dog, which today it's like 12 degrees outside. I do not want to walk the dogs tonight, but you can do that audio. It's an Odyssey Sports original podcast. Wherever you get your audio, make sure you rate and review. We appreciate that. If you're watching us, don't forget to thank our good friends at BetUS, where you can get 150% sign-up bonus. That's right, 150% sign-up bonus for using the promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Start playing today. Bet on US tonight in hockey at TD Garden in Boston, where they're going to take down the Canadiens. So do that. Thank you to the folks at BetUS, as always. Such great support here of the show and of Mo and I. So thank you for that as well. Also, subscribe wherever you're watching us. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, or Rumble, wherever you're watching us, hit that subscribe button, hit that notifications bell so you know every time we have either a live show or a premiere or a new video. We do shorts too, so make sure you do that. We certainly appreciate it. For my partner, Mo Moton, for my producer, Mike Robier over at Odyssey, I'm Scott Gulbranson. This has been Silver and Black Today, an Odyssey Sports Original podcast. Raider Nation, thanks for being with me, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.